This is the video that so many of you have been requesting, and it's all about how I manifested our brand new house. So it's taken me a little while to get this uploaded because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. I want to share all of the details with you because I have to say that this is one of my absolute favorite manifestations so far. And I have a lot of lessons on all of it that I want to pass on to you. In this video, I have a lot to share with you, with a lot of tools that you can use to manifest those bigger things that you want. And I am honestly just really excited to share my whole experience and exactly what I did to make this all happen. Hello and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm Mary Kate and I'm a mindset coach and manifesting expert focused on getting you transformational results. My whole channel is about manifesting, law of attraction, meditations, and more. So if you want to experience some massive results, you are in the right place. I post brand new videos every Wednesday, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can get notified whenever a new video goes up. And really quickly, before we get into the video, be sure to go ahead and hit that little thumbs up button right down below, because I really put my heart and soul into making these videos to share these techniques with you. So just taking that quick second to hit that little thumbs up button lets me know that you're watching and getting value from my videos, which is the whole point. Now let's get into all of the details. And I'm sorry in advance, I think someone just started pressure washing outside. So if you hear that in the background, it is what it is. So the way that this manifestation happened for me was something I could have never imagined or comprehended. It honestly didn't happen in the way I expected, like not at all. When I used to think about the house I wanted, and when my brain used to get lost in how it would show up, or where it would be, or what it would look like, or when it would happen, I can truly and honestly say none of it looked like or happened in the way I would have imagined, not even in the slightest. But really, looking back at it, that was sort of the beauty of it. And let's be clear, this manifestation didn't feel like sunshine and rainbows. It was rough. I felt like it really stretched me to activate a power within that I had never quite reached before. This process required me to surrender and lean into complete faith in a way that I had never done before. I needed to rearrange my energy and find the balance of control versus surrender. And I truly believe that the way that this all happened forced me to come up against my next level, the level I needed to be to set new standards and beliefs around what's possible for me. And this is really important to take in when it comes to your own manifesting and your own process. Sometimes you're going to be stretched to the new level. So here's an important lesson. If you aren't willing to look at the information and lessons that certain situations are showing you, then you're going to continue to struggle to see results. And here is the big truth. When it comes to manifesting, the reason that people don't become millionaires and billionaires overnight or manifest cars or houses right away is because they just aren't at that level yet internally. And you're probably saying, like, what do you mean by that? We all have subconscious programming that has layers and layers and layers and layers. And this programming directly affects what we attract. So really, the real and right way to manifest is to work from the inside out. You start with your mind and what you believe to be true, and then you work to clear out any resistance that feels limiting to you or feels like you can't have this thing. Because like I always say, limits are just lies that you chose to believe, and these lies all came from your subconscious programming. It's all connected. And so many people give up because they simply aren't willing to do the internal work required to manifest the big things that they want. That's really the truth. They want to get straight to the point and for their manifestation to just show up. But it's simply not how it works. I remember that this was something that kept me stuck for a long time, well over a decade ago when I first started doing this work. You have to shift inside to see it on the outside. You have to do the internal work. There is no way around it. Manifestation doesn't mean something just shows up with no work. It's actually the work you do internally for everything to shift in the external. So let me share the process I used and how it all happened. So for me personally, I've been using the same 7-step manifesting process for years, many, many years now. It's something that's taken me over a decade to craft and perfectly perfect and fine-tune in such a way that I can use it every single time for each thing I intend to manifest. I have a 7-step process that I can just go to, and I know it works. And I can't stress this enough that a go-to process is one of the best ways to approach manifesting. Because if you are just randomly doing things without really knowing why you're doing it and it doesn't feel right to you, then you'll likely continue to get scattered results. Maybe something will work for you one time and you try and do it again and it doesn't work a second time. Consistency is key. And I actually teach this exact 7-step process and how to customize it for yourself inside of my signature program, Abundance Academy. And it is such a powerful tool that you can go to every single time, over and over and over again. But let's specifically get into exactly how I manifested this house. So the whole process started by me setting the intention of what I wanted, and most importantly, why I wanted it. You never just want something for no reason. You want it because it will provide something for you. So when you set your intention, my biggest piece of advice is to focus more on the feeling of what that thing will provide rather than just the thing itself. Because if you just focus on this thing that you want, you could really be selling yourself short and missing out on something even better. So instead, focus on the essence of it and you will experience much bigger and better results. So like I had mentioned, the way I manifested this house is not something I ever imagined. And it all happened through an app. That sounds insane, right? Like I cannot even make this up. My manifestation showed up because of an app. So here's the deal. We had already met with and planned to use a real estate agent who had a great reputation in the area that we were looking to buy. We really, really liked them too. And at the time, because we had just moved from out of state, we were renting a house for just a few months while we looked for a house to buy. And I also need to quickly tell you as a side note regarding this house rental. Every single realtor and person that I spoke to had told us we would never, ever, ever be able to find a short-term house rental at the time we had moved because it was the season where everyone goes here for a vacation. We were basically told, like, there's no chance. But I had certain requirements that I wanted for this short-term house rental. So one of them was that it had to be a house. I wanted a certain amount of bedrooms. It had to have a pool, and it had to have a nice yard for our dog. I set very specific parameters. And I was told that there is no way that we would find this house in the midst of vacation season. But of course, I don't buy into what other people believe. And I for sure don't take on their beliefs. I decide what's possible. And because I knew that it would all work out, of course I was able to rent a house for a few months, even when everyone else said it wasn't possible. So I encourage you to also form your own beliefs about what's possible and see how things start to change for you. Anyway, so now that we're living in this great house, all I keep hearing about was how difficult the market is and how competitive it is. And I really wanted zero part of that. I didn't want to have to compete with people. I didn't want to be waiting in lines at the door. I didn't want any of that stress. So we ended up going to a few open houses and I saw the situation. And right then and there, I decided that there was going to be an easier way. Even though I had no idea how it would all work out, I knew that it would. I always come back to knowing it will no matter what. I definitely had moments of gripping on and getting caught up and trying to force things, like of course I did. It's something I'm really emotionally invested in. We had actually found one house that we liked. We put in an offer, got into an insane bidding war, and I remember getting all wrapped up in it. I was trying to make it happen and I was forcing and I was gripping on so tightly and I figured there was no other options and I had to have this house. And that was when I realized I was trying too hard and not trusting what was actually in front of me, not coming back to that place of trusting myself. That feeling of getting stressed out and overwhelmed on how it's all going to work is really just signaling that you aren't fully trusting yourself. You aren't fully trusting that you're supported when you make a decision on that you want something. So that was the moment that I leaned back into one of my favorite affirmations. Affirmations are a great way to remind yourself to come back to what's true. And this affirmation, one of my favorites that I used, was, I know and trust that this will all work out for me in the best possible way. I know and trust that this will all work out for me in the best possible way. And from there, that reminded me to get back to my 7-step process that always works for me and stand firm in my faith that it will all work out. And that was when I was led to take an inspired action that changed everything. One night, in the middle of the night, I had this thought that actually woke me up from a deep sleep. This thought that I woke up thinking was, why was the owner of the house only looking for a short-term rental? Because usually these don't exist in this area. People always want to rent it for a certain amount of months. You see, your brain is always trying to work things out for you, and when you sleep is one of the most powerful times to set an intention. Right before you fall asleep, ask a question you need an answer to. Your brain will work it out while you're sleeping. So after I had this thought that literally woke me up from a deep sleep, the next day, I had this impulse to email the owner of the house that we were renting, and ask if they were interested in selling it. I mean, something had really clicked in my head that there was a reason they only wanted a short-term type deal. Maybe they were looking to sell it. I mean, the way we even found this rental in the first place was through this neighborhood app where the owner had temporarily posted a short-term rental for this house that we got. This house had every detail that we wanted in a house. It checked every single one of my specific boxes that I had created. It was in the exact neighborhood I wanted, where houses are rarely for sale, and if they do go for sale, they're only available for like a few hours before they have multiple offers. This neighborhood's extremely desirable. This house had the pool I wanted, the yard I wanted, the right amount of bedrooms, and it even had amazing neighbors. It was everything we possibly wanted in a house. It was literally everything we wanted, and it was sitting right in front of me this entire time. I just wasn't seeing it clearly because I had never considered it as an option to own because I didn't know it was available to me. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. The owner very quickly responded back to me and offered to sell it to us directly. No competition, no bidding wars, no stress of all the things going on in the market. Simple, just the way I had decided I wanted it to be. All along, this house that I wanted, I was already living in. I was renting it. It was already mine. I just couldn't see it. I was so attached to thinking it was going to happen in the traditional way of using a realtor and finding a house and putting in an offer and all of those little details that your mind makes up about how something's supposed to look or be. I was caught up in what it was supposed to be or supposed to look like. It didn't look exactly the way I had imagined, and we have a lot of renovations planned. But that's actually something that we had always talked about doing, and now we actually have the opportunity to finally do it. If you want me to take you along with this renovation journey, maybe I'll either film videos on it or I'll make a separate channel about it. But we've always wanted to renovate a house and make it exactly the way we want it, down to every last detail. And now that's a reality. It's like two of my manifestations collided and came true at the same time. And I can't even begin to tell you the excitement I feel when I start looking at all of the details that we get to start renovations on soon. It just goes to show you that your manifestation may not always show up in the exact way that you thought or planned, and it may not look exactly the way you had imagined. But when you pay attention to the signs you're getting, when you are open to taking inspired action, and when you're open to listening to those gut feelings that you get, when you can really trust yourself, that's when everything starts to move quickly and all work out in your favor. And when I say that this manifestation tested me on a new level, I truly mean it. Because there were several moments where it looked like absolutely everything was just going to fall apart. We actually at one point even had to push back our closing because the owner of the house had ordered these new custom windows to be installed, which was honestly amazing. But only about half of them arrived. One was broken, some were back ordered, and we couldn't just put a window in because they're like custom. And we dealt with so many setbacks and so much chaos and so much confusion. But in these moments of being hit with the bad, in those moments where things were literally going the opposite of our plan, it was in those times that I had to lock back into my full faith that everything always works out. It always works out in the best possible way. I needed to stop questioning it. And that these external events and all of the problems we faced when closing on the house, all of these things were not going to derail my inner peace. That may sound really tacky or whatever, but inner peace will actually affect and shift your external reality. If you're feeling chaos, if you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling upset, you're just going to continue to create situations around you that continue that feeling. You have to be able to notice and shift. And did I have moments of losing my mind and getting frustrated and wanting to just scream and cry and run away? Oh my God, yes. I had many moments of this. But like I said, the more issues we faced, the faster and easier I could shift back into trust. It's something you have to practice. Just because I am a mindset coach and manifesting expert doesn't mean that I don't face problems. We are all human beings. Everything is a lesson. It's when you can observe and look at things differently and observe that it's not happening to you and that you do have control over how you react. Then everything can work out in your favor. I got to a place where I could shift back into internal peace, knowing that everything was fine. And because I felt that so deeply on the inside, it was reflected on the outside. Everything starts from within you, and what you experience is all correlated. Those moments where I forgot the inner peace, I experienced chaos. But when I came back to inner peace, the chaos settled. So that was mainly the basics of how I manifested this house. I feel like this video is getting really, really long. And I could seriously go on and on and on about all of the synchronicities, all of the weird miracles that happened, and every detail of how everything lined up like extremely perfectly. But I feel like this video would go on too long. So if you want me to make a part 2, leave me a comment below and I'll go into more detail. But that was my not so quick summary. Sharing some pretty major tools that will truly help you if you're manifesting a house or if you're manifesting something that feels kind of big. Remember to focus on the essence of the intention rather than the thing itself, to listen and be aware of the messages you're getting, that you have to do the inner work and rearrange your thoughts and your energy around it. And if you want to start using and incorporating and customizing my 7-step process for you, I will leave a link down below for Abundance Academy where you can learn this exact process and how to customize it for yourself. And in that program, we dive deep into how to program your subconscious mind to manifest on autopilot, rewiring new neural pathways. There's so much information in there. And I also left a link down below for you to download my free money mindset workbook. And inside this workbook, you'll get journal prompts and formulas along with exercises and techniques on clearing money blocks to attract money with ease. So be sure to check that out. It's completely free. And I've received thousands of emails from people who've told me that this has caused some major money breakthroughs for them. So go ahead and try it out for yourself. The link to the free workbook is down below. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell notification so you get notified whenever I post a new video. And also head over onto my Instagram at MKMagicMindset. I post tons of law of attraction, daily affirmations, tips, tricks, and resources. And head on over to my website, mkmagicmindset.com, where you can find more about Abundance Academy, my other programs, how to work with me, and so much more. And I will see you in the next one.